Alright, these are some of my most used knives. If you ever come across me in the woods, it's likelihood I'll be carrying one or more of these. This is a SE Azula with some of those SE G10 scales. But anyway, it's an okay knife. I use it more as an everyday type knife, everyday carry, because it's pretty tiny. This is a cold steel mini Pendleton Hunter, I think it's called. It's got a craton rubberized handle. I've carried it for a while. Again, mostly EDC on this one right here. This is my current EDC. It's a Blind Horse Knives Woodsman with natural micarta handles. Cool thing about this knife is you have a small blade, but you've got a full-size handle. So that's what I really like about this one. Next is a LT Wright Next Gen. The handle on this guy is wonderful. They contoured this really well. It's just basically a broomstick handle, and then they put some thumb scallops in there. I am not overly fond of the D2 steel on this guy though. It's kind of brittle, I guess I'd say. It's just not one of my overall favorites as far as the steel choice that was used. But the design is marvelous. I wish it was 8.2. This next one here is a Battle Horse Comanche, and it's got black canvas micarta. The 01 is pretty good on this knife, but the handle scales, I don't know how to show y'all, are just maybe that's too dark. Anyway, the handle scales are just way too thin for a really comfortable grip as far as any kind of wood carving. So up to this point, everything that we've discussed, the Azula, the Mini Hunter, the Woodsman, the Next Gen, and the Comanche, those I would all classify as fixed blades that I carry for EDC. Now, this would be my first classification of what I carry as a woods knife, I guess. It's an LT Wright. It's sold only at the Knife Connection. It's the little brother of the Forest Trail. It's the Woodland Trail, I think it's called. Pretty decent knife overall. I like the shape and the size of it. The handle's got some cool contours, which makes it pretty comfy, but the handle's just not big enough for long periods of wood carving. Other than that, though, this is a great general use outdoors knife, like camp use. I would even possibly try to hunt with it, even though it's not got that great of a belly on it, but it is what it is. Then the next two y'all have seen before in a previous video. The Battle Horse Bushcrafter, don't really need to say much about it. And the LT Wright Bushcrafter, again, don't need to say too much about it. You've already seen them. Now, here's one that I used for a long time before I got the majority of these others. This is a Swamp Rat Harry Carry. It's a pretty cool little knife, I guess, overall. I've really enjoyed this knife over the years. The handle isn't the best for carving, but it's not the worst. I can actually do pretty decent choke ups with it and make some feather sticks, so it's pretty decent. I guess this one here, this is a Jeff White Bush 1, I think it's called. Yeah, this is the Bush 1 with some awesome maple handles. I chose the Bush 1 because it's only 3/32 thick, but because you have pretty much the full blade stock all the way through, it's still a very tough knife. The only thing I don't like about this knife is the fact that the handle doesn't come out to here, and thus whenever you go to carve with it, this steel, this steel here in the curve begins to just destroy your hand. So I have a SE4. A lot of people have SE4s. This one I didn't like the jimping, so I ground that down flat. Overall, I don't really like this knife. As much as a lot of people say it's a great knife, I just don't really like it. The handle is by far way too thin. It may be the thinnest handle of all of these, honestly, and it's just not very comfortable in that regard. So it doesn't make an overall great knife, but it will do camp work decently well, I suppose. The last one I kind of hesitate at showing. It's a Bussy Combat Anniversary Steelheart 1, the Ash 1 in Imphy. It's 5/16 of an inch thick. It's a brute of a knife, if you classify it as a knife. It's indestructible. As you can see, I've put it through hell and back. All of that coating wear is not from me grinding the knife, but rather from use. This has probably been one of the more used ones of all of them, because I've had it probably, out of all these, I've had it the longest. The disadvantage to it, one, the handle scales are way too thin. There was an option to get Magnum handle scales. I didn't know at the time. I should have definitely done that. But the handle's way too thin. And then on top of that, the blade is balanced about this first little rivet pin here. So it does not make a good chopper. Ibaton's like a beast. It will not chop very well, though. It'll chop to some extent, it just doesn't chop very well. And so that is a disadvantage to me because, well, it's such a big blade and I don't really want to carry it if it's not going to do much for me. But nonetheless, I still carry it some, and it's been beat to hell, and I just wanted to show it, I guess, that they do make pretty good stuff. I guess I'll show a couple of hatchets real quick, and that'll be the end. This first one, again, I hesitate to show him. I haven't used it very much. It's a Norlund Voyager hatchet. Kind of got that Hudson Bay tomahawk head shape. I haven't used it enough to really say much yet. I just liked the small size. This other one is a 15-inch Wetterland's hunting axe, or hatchet, really. It's the best to me. It's a bombing axe. I mean, it's just fantastic. But so that's what I carry the majority of the time. All of them have been sharpened by me and are running a pretty decent edge on them at the moment. But individual reviews may come later. I'm not sure yet, but alright, bye.